which is a fantastic question, okay? So let's think about that. So you want to start selling cross-channel services, okay? So what did we talk about earlier? Easier to sell to existing customers or find new ones? What's easier?
Existing.
Okay? So now I want to sell cross-channel marketing to my existing customers. How would I segment where am I going to go within my own customer base to find the most likely candidate?
What is it going to afford manufacturers?
You may not know that though. Okay? All right, you could do it by vertical markets, okay, because we know certain vertical markets have longer sales cycles. That's a good thing, okay? Or you could say, let's look at our database. Who are we currently doing direct mail for? Either mailing it or just print and mailing it, because they're already doing direct mail. So chances are they may be doing some other channels on their own, trying to do that, and they're not working together. Okay? So to me, that would be easier. Let's go and help you. You're already doing the direct mail portion of it, or maybe some of the other channels, they're just not integrated, and see if there's value there. Because it's going to be easier sale, okay, than trying to go to a manufacturer who's never done direct marketing and convince them that they should do direct marketing. That's going to take longer. The other side of it is look at what you already do know, okay? So, like, he's not here, but like, I already have 20 nonprofit accounts and I've been working with them for 20 years, so I have an understanding of nonprofits. You guys said you did. Or banks, or manufacturers, or schools, or whatever it is. Just from virtue of doing their stuff, you should have been picking up some learning. You probably did. So you could say, I didn't, so analyze your own data. Like, I didn't realize this. We had 12 private schools we do stuff for. Or, 14 churches, or whatever, okay? So, because then it makes sense you can parlay that experience that you already have and find more of them. Okay, let's go out to all the churches. Let's go out to all the private schools. So that's a step. Another one might be, okay, we're doing stuff for schools, which is we're finding people to be recruited for the school, which is not too far from a B2B company that markets themselves with seminars and webinars. They have to put butts in seats, basically, just like the school does. So I may already know something about that, even though I didn't realize I did. Okay, so that's called like an adjacent market. Okay, so I think I'd start there, like what's my best bets, just to upsell somebody first. So I think the customers already do direct mail already. Now that I've got that, are there any specific vertical markets referenced in that, and can I go out to more of those? And then next, okay, what is this like? Is there other things this is like that I can expand into? Does that make sense? I think that's, kind of an easier way to look at what you've got to work with. Okay? All right, so when we left for lunch, I asked you if you were going to reposition any of those campaigns and be a little less product-focused and a little bit more value-focused. What would you do? Did anybody amidst their chocolate cake have an idea? Did anybody contemplate this at all?
With ours, obviously, and I think maybe we get a little confused, but obviously since our target market was heating and air conditioning companies, we need to, my question is, what do we put in the YouTube video? We can say these are the ABCs of a cross-media campaign, or we can say something to them about the lifetime value of a new customer or retaining an existing customer. Quantify that for them, because they may not have really thought about it.
Okay, now what do you think is better? Both options. It's mechanics of a cross-channel campaign, the value of lifetime value of a customer.
Much better lifetime value of a customer.
Yeah, because we know what are the 3 biggest concerns for a small business?
Gain.
Finding customers, keeping customers, selling more stuff to existing customers. So that's what they care about. So if you put it in their terms, it's about the benefit now and not the thing. Okay, telling them about the mechanics of a cross-channel is giving them features. Tell them about, hey, this is a way that you can capture more prospects, or you can cross-sell additional stuff to your existing customers, or you can prevent cancellations of service agreements. That's about what they need. Does that make sense?
And over the lifetime of a heating and air conditioning customer, they're gonna buy a new compressor. They're gonna do more stuff and really spend money.
Well, those companies, those HVAC companies, air conditioning units, hot water heaters, furnaces, humidifiers, air quality things, they do a lot of stuff. So if somebody buys an air conditioning unit from me, I have a chance to sell all those other 4 things, plus a service contract. So you want to look there. Now, the interesting thing about HVAC companies is they actually have a lot of data. They just don't realize they do, okay? Because basically they know who they've sold to, and if they've been around a while, if I put a hot water heater in your house 10 years ago, what do I know? It's gonna break, okay? If I put an air conditioner in your house 8 or 10 years ago, what do I know? Okay? So, their typical process is they try to sell you the warranty when they sell you the unit. If you don't buy it, they go back one more time, at the expiration of the manufacturer's warranty. Do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? Some do. Some forget all about it. Okay? Now they have a bunch of people that still didn't do anything, and that's it. They're done. They never go back to them. Okay? And they certainly don't, continue to talk to them once they're not under service agreement. So that means that all those other things are going to break, and I'm not there. So there's actually some good opportunity inside of those businesses because they have some of lifetime data. So somebody could pay attention to that.
Well, they have a lot of annual maintenance contracts with a lot of their clients too, so they know who they are.
They tend to like the spot upsell. So oh, my air conditioning's broken. You come out and then they'll say, oh, we can fix it for $1 gazillion, or you can sign up for a service contract and it'll be half of $1 gazillion. So, that's usually the sales approach. When, there's a good value proposition to be under that service contract from the get-go. We're gonna check your system out once a year, we're gonna, all that. But they kind of give it the college try when the thing is bought, and then they don't really do a whole lot with it after that. So that's like prime stuff to go after. And they don't all do it. So, I would pay attention, if you had any of those guys, that could be a good opportunity. Okay?
Contacting, so they contact their customers to re-up their warranty or?
Yeah, do you do direct mail to get them to re-up their warranty, or to sell the warranty at the end of the manufacturer's warranty? Just sell the contract at the end of the manufacturer's warranty? And then they're not the only industry like that. So people who have that ongoing service contract, just like our lawn care guy from the example earlier, it's better for him if he gets you signed up on a year-round program. Okay? How many customers, when we did that project, that one I actually did myself, and I was like, he wanted to just buy a list and mail out to a zip code. I was like, well, whoa, Nelly, what do we got to work with here? And I said, well, yeah, I have a spreadsheet with all the people we do gutter cleaning for. Yeah, I have a spreadsheet of all the people we do aeration for. I think I have a spreadsheet for all the people that we do fertilizing for. So I'm like, bingo, and so all I did was cross-reference that, and in that first sentence it said, you may already know us for gutter cleaning and aeration, if they were on both lists. If they were on one list, it just said what they were, and then I pitched the new service in the middle, and at the end I said, and don't forget about us for whatever is left. It was not rocket science, okay, but it worked really well. And he had the data, but you didn't think he did. If he'd have gone into some other printer down the street, he would have said, yep, sure, we can buy a list for $50 a thousand, how many do you want, and print your stupid postcard. That actually was a flyer with a whole lot more words on it than what we ended up with. Okay? So, stuff like that is out there. Best place to prospect for that is look at your mail. Okay? We talked a lot about last time insight, and sharing insight to be able to, kind of get a different conversation. So let's say you get something in the mail and you're like, this is horrible. Okay, so let's say you get that remodeler guy from Scottsdale, comes in your mail. Somebody said they're looking to remodel their kitchen, so he gets that. Okay, what can you do? okay? So, you know, why not? You know, hey, I was actually considering getting my house remodeled, so, you know, that's why I think I got your piece. And I'm in this business, and I'm kind of looking at this, and I think there's some opportunities here for better results. Okay, would you like to talk about that? Okay, now who's gonna say, oh no, don't want any better results, really happy with the bad stuff? I mean, he's probably gonna take that meeting. And you're not talking about price. So you guys wanna watch out that you're not taking them to the price conversation when you get there. Like, oh, we could do that for. I want to say, okay, well, when you sell a remodel, how much revenue is that typically? Okay? Oh, well, you know, the average remodel is 30 grand for us when we do a kitchen. Okay, so what does that tell you? I know the value now. If I get him 2 more sales, I made him $60,000. I don't have to charge him $600 for that. I can charge him a lot more if he's going to make 60. But that's like, okay, so if you got some more leads, that could equal a lot more revenue for you, right? You know, like, so that's a different conversation than, oh, we can do direct mail at X price. You know, so that's a good thing to do too, is look at what's coming across your desk in your house, in your own mailboxes. Okay? All right, so I don't know if this is, oh, it is, okay. So we're going to talk about objectives. You guys did a pretty good job on the exercise, on the objective side of things. Okay, so we clearly beat this horse to death, but gain new customers, cross-sell customers, keep customers. Basically what most small businesses and businesses in general care about, okay? Oh, and then the fourth thing, don't forget the fourth thing, which is, you know, doing that cost effective, okay? So typical campaign objectives. What? Question?
Oh, no.
Okay. Typical campaign objectives, get leads, B2B, get leads, generate direct sales, okay, like the Paxar example with the bags. What did they want to do? They wanted you to buy bags. They didn't need leads for bags, they need a bag sales. Increase store traffic if it's a retail environment. Increase frequency of visits. Okay, so if it's a retail, and they have good customers that come in there once a month and spend average $100, and I can get you in another 0.8 times a month, that's a lot of money. Okay, so that could be an objective. Okay? Increase transaction spend. Can I upsell you? Okay, you come into the furniture store, and I looked at our data, and you know, 9 times out of 10, we sell you 1 piece of furniture. There's got to be an opportunity in there to sell both the sofa and the chair. Or the sofa and the rug, or lamps and rug and the sofa. Okay? So that could be an opportunity. So increase that transaction spend. Reduce attrition, always a biggie. Okay? And then you have the build awareness objective. What's the hardest to measure? Build awareness. Okay? So they'll say, I just want awareness. Like, they're like, well, buddy, you know what? You can't take awareness to the bank. Okay, so half the time when the small business says, I want to build awareness, they don't really know what they're doing. Okay, yeah, you need it, but what does a small business, small mid-sized business need more than anything else? Sales. Is awareness going to get you sales quickly? No. Okay, so well, what's at the root of this awareness building? Why do you think you need to do that? The next question is going to be because we're not selling enough. And then there's going to be a better way to do it. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so the good news is that 78% of marketers believe cross-channel is important to their business. Doesn't mean they know how to do it, but they believe that it is. Companies with customers with diverse buying criteria means that you must, send them targeted marketing messages that address their specific needs, okay? So go back to the nonprofit. The nonprofit does disaster recovery, they do blood drives, they do this, that, and the next thing. Like, I can't say, here's all the millions of things that we do. The piece is going to be too long. So if I can narrow that down, I'm going to have better response. The HVAC company, you know, we do different pieces in there. I may get better response if I work on one at a time, okay? And if you have a lot of different things that you do, it's oftentimes easier to focus on one, okay? And we do this, and we do that. You know, it's hard. So maybe saying, I'm just going to focus on, like, go back to the lawn thing. I didn't go, here's a block with everything that's good about aeration. Here's a block with everything that's good about gutter cleaning. Here's a block with everything I focus on selling the contract, and then we just kind of added, and by the way, don't forget about the other stuff. Okay, but if I'd have tried to get all of the value proposition in there for all of those different services, it would have ended up too big, too much to look at. I wouldn't know what to do if I was the recipient. So a lot of times narrowing down the focus is a key element for success. Companies with weak value propositions. Can anybody give me an example of that? There's no differentiated reason for using them. A lot of printers fall into this category. Okay? You're not really unique. Okay? Everybody does what you do. A lot of people do what you do. Okay? So when you don't have a true differentiation, like a product that nobody else offers, or a price that nobody else can beat, that would be differentiated, okay? Then you have to compete on the other stuff, like customer service and understanding your market and adding value. People that have that kind of value proposition are good candidates for this, because a digital strategy can help them improve. They appear to be communicating better with their audience, and they differentiate on that. Okay? We know, hey, you're about to run out of bags based on how often you buy them and how many you bought last time. Makes you better than the guy who waits for you to call and say, what's your price on bags? Okay, so a lot of times when it's undifferentiated offering, they rely on that communication and that customer service to differentiate them in the marketplace, and that can be a great place for digital cross-channel. Okay, so one of the questions you want to ask people is, okay, why do people buy from you? Okay, most of the time you're going to hear crap, by the way. It will be crap. Because we have the best customer service. And you're going to think, well, hey, I was in here last week and I stood around for an hour before anyone ever said anything. Or I ate a couple of weeks ago and it tastes like crap. Okay, so people always think we have great customer service, we have a terrific product, and they don't necessarily. Okay? And that goes back to, you know, the best campaign in the world, but if the pizza is horrible, you're not going to get people. You might get them to buy the first time, but they won't buy the second time. All right, so let's look at expectations for this. Okay, so we talked about the union, and he's sitting at 2.8, and he's freaking out because he doesn't think he has good response. Okay, so let's look at that. Direct mail to existing customers, average 3.4. Okay, this is coming from another study. Direct mail to prospects, 1.2. Okay? So if that's your average, what does that tell you? Somebody got 3 and somebody got 0.02. Okay? Email, 0.12. Not even a percent. A tenth of it. 27% open rate and 4.5 click-throughs. Okay, so the union campaign, his click-through right now is at 52% on click-throughs. Okay? Telemarketing to a house list, good, because you basically beat people down. So that's why nobody wants to answer their phone. 12.95, telemarketing to a prospect list, 8.21, but you can't do that too much, can you? Do not call lists. Okay? Pay per click, 3.88, and a 5.88 conversion. Okay? So you get a response, but very few people actually convert. Why? Why do you get high response on pay per click?
It's the top of the page.
Well, it's easy to click. Like, I'm doing work. Oh, I didn't want that. You know, so you get typically pretty good response because it's like, well, yeah, I'm going to click that. Oh, I didn't mean to go there. But you don't get necessarily good conversion. Okay? And then display ad, same kind of thing. 0.024 click-through, 0.01 conversion. Okay? So when you're thinking about direct marketing, like this is the kind of stuff you have to have in the back of your head. This is what they're getting. Okay? So that's not all that great, is it? Okay, so if we can improve that, even a little bit, you move that needle even a little bit, it has big payoff. Okay, so here's what I was gonna say, prospects like, that might be good prospects. Organizations with products that have a longer sales cycle. Okay, because you need more touch points to keep them going, and so doing cross-channel strategy is good. Touch them with direct mail, touch them with email, learn something about them, touch them with another email, learn something more, send something in the mail. Like, there's a lot of touch points, have a long decision-making process, good prospect. Organizations that send transactional statements and have cross-selling opportunities may not work for you guys because we talked about that. That's that trans promo thing. You need a couple other things going, but they could be good. Companies with distributors, dealers, field sales personnel, and franchisees. Okay, because they got to sell through somebody, and they need flexible and consistent communication that can be customized easily and tracked. Okay, so any of your customers have direct sales forces? Are they anybody with a national sales force? So they got remote sales offices that you know of. How would you find that out?
Look on their website.
If you go to the website and say locations, they'll pretty much tell you. So you franchises, you guys all know that, like, so getting tools that you can repurpose. Distributors big, okay, because they got to resell that product, so letting them co-brand it and coming up with a campaign that they could just package turnkey and send out could be valuable, okay? Organizations with products that change frequently. Why? Why does that be a good prospect?
Because they always have to make product announcements and update their websites
And do they want to print anything offset and put it in a warehouse? No, they do not, because they'll be throwing it out.
We're throwing it away.
Yep, okay, and that costs money. And then lastly, nonprofit organization who have organizational donors. What's the difference between an organizational donor and an event donor?
What?
An event donor.
Like you're donating to the Cancer Society versus you're donating to the high school senior line.
Okay, kind of. Okay, an event donor is someone who I sponsor you to run in the 10K. Okay, I care about Susan G. Coleman, so you're gonna run, I'll sponsor you for $10 a month. That's an event donor. An event participant is the person who ran. And an organizational donor typically gives the annual fund. Okay? Now what's interesting is a lot of nonprofits, especially the small ones, which I know you guys have those on your rolls of customers, do a horrible job of converting or transitioning someone from an event donor or event participant to a donor. Okay? Why is that important? Why do I want you to be an organizational donor and not an event donor?
More money.
Okay? Does it cost any money to put on a big race?
Yeah.
Does it cost money to put on the big heart heart ball? Yeah. So that donor gives you $100, but it costs you $90 to do it. So they feel like they gave you $100, but you're just getting 10. Okay? Versus an organizational donor, you get the lion's share of that. Okay? So a lot of times talking to, same customer with the union, he's talking to an organization that's like focused on getting children to read. And they do this big book and author breakfast thingy where they bring an author and there's like 1,000 people that come. And so I was like, he's like, yeah, so he says he's making a lot of money on that. I said, well, we could be making money, and he's clearly creating some awareness. What's he doing to get those donors turned into annual fund donors? Oh, I don't know. So we're like, hustle back and give him that message and see if that's the hot button. He's got thousands of people that he needs to turn into regular donors if he wants to do a good job of this. Okay? So that could be another. So all of those I think it was 3, and so those 5 categories of companies are going to be good prospects. Okay, so we talk about what can you do to get started. Look at your customers. Do they fall into any of these categories? Okay, so basically businesses need to acquire, retain, and grow, and you guys need relevant services to offer marketing and marketers and consumers. So it all works out perfectly. Okay, so why do we want to do a multi-channel campaign? Because marketers have to work hard to connect to their customers today because there's so much noise out there, and you can help them. So how are you going to help them? let's take a company with a national sales force of remote salespeople.
Keller,
What?
Keller.
Okay, that's good. So how are you gonna help them?
Direct mail.
Okay, so what are you gonna say to them to start that conversation?
I don't know, it was already in place when I got there.
Okay. Okay, well, typically they sell high-value properties, so that's an opportunity, that's a good thing. If you're thinking about, you know, where should you go, isolating good markets, so those high-end realtors could be good, okay? Secondly, though, you gotta make sure that the company themselves doesn't already offer a solution, which they could. Doesn't mean that they don't need a partner to execute it. You know, you could be a printer, but they may already have their front end to customize kind of thing. They might already. But a lot of those companies that do that are not very flexible, okay? You gotta, in order to have a website, it's kind of what we were talking about with Mindfire. Like if you make a product that can be used by a lot of people in a lot of different ways, it can't have too much flexibility, it gets crazy. Okay, so you have to fit into categories. Like FedEx, if it absolutely positively has to be there tomorrow, as long as you have it here by 7:30. You show up at 7:31, they're not helping you, okay? Because they can't guarantee the rest of it if they start, okay? Airborne Express, hey, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, I gotta get this heart defibrillator to a hospital in Tupelo, and they're your man, okay? So they have different value propositions, okay? So you wanna look at Keller Williams, like, okay, you're selling high-end properties, you might need a little bit more flexibility. You may need to make those documents even more sexier, and you're outside of Washington, pretty high-valued area, than you might need in some little town in Georgia. Okay, so I'm gonna ask them, I wanna, like, how much flexibility do you have? You know, like when you create these things, are they working the way that you want them to work? Are there things you wish you could be promoting in here that you can't? Okay, so those are the kinds of questions that you ask. All right, so basically it's about channels. We get them all, there's new ones all the time, sort of, they're all out there. Anybody doing car wraps? Freaking love the car wrap. Okay, but I like the car wrap that doesn't look like a billboard. That's like more of a thing. Love that. Are you selling some of that?
Yeah.
Love that. Are they, like, what are they doing? What kind of companies?
Well, funny, we've already been talking about it, HVAC.
Oh, okay.
We've done, what's that?
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, well, we did that for ourselves, actually. My sales rep's, car, we wrapped to look like the Jurassic Park Jeep.
Oh.
And in Utah, it was as much a fish out of water as you ever
I
saw.
bet it
So-
was. See, that's what I love about that stuff, because like, talk about memorability, okay? So let's say you're a Mary Kay rep, okay, which there's like gazillions of them, and your Volvo station wagon looks like a tube of lipstick. Are people gonna remember that? Or are they gonna remember your car with your sign on it? You know, like, it's gonna be way cooler, the
Yeah,
tube of
we
lipstick.
were worried we were gonna cause accidents driving down the road.
I bet.
Yeah,
We have, you
did
know,
think that.
the little, well, I'm not there anymore, but when I lived in Richmond, you know those little smart cars? The HVCA company that was kind of across the way from us wrapped the little smart car to look like an air conditioning unit. So the air conditioning unit was driving around, because it's about the same size. Yeah. So like, I mean, how cool is that? You're not gonna forget that. Okay, so I love the vehicle wraps. I just think that, you know, that is like so cool. Okay? So anyway, you got all these channels, everybody's using, they get a new channel tomorrow, and now they're like, oh, should we wrap the car? Like, every day there's a new thing for them to spend money on, okay? So you always want to start with what's the strategy. So let's go back to the car wrap. What's the strategy with the car wrap? Remember all the different strategies, awareness, generate leads, cross-sell, traffic. What's the objective with the car wrap? What?
Brand awareness.
Brand awareness. That's a good one for brand awareness, okay? Because you're going to drive around, you're not going to forget about it, but you know, I can't really put a QR code on the car as it's driving by, so I'm not going to get like lead qualification. Okay, that'll be trickier. So that would not be my, if I wanted to do a vehicle wrap, I would not have lead generation as an objective. But awareness, it's a good one.
Yeah, and I vouch for both of those. That's exactly how they work.
What?
They're fantastic for brand awareness. In the case of our, one that we wrapped for our sales rep, we got some lead generation from it, but it was not the ideal way to get lead generation. But it was phenomenal for creating awareness. I had people a year later, oh yeah, I saw that thing driving all over town. So,
Now see, that would be, now here's what I would do with that, segue. But that's a great social media campaign. Where's the Jeep?
yeah.
Okay? Like text when you see the Jeep, or, you know, like, where's the Jeep now? And like, go to our Facebook page, you know, tell us where you saw the Jeep last and enter to win a $50 gift card or whatever. You would get people coming, you know, and doing that. A client of mine out in California, they had this horrible mascot. His name was, and I kid you not, Prince Perfect. P-R-I-T-S. P-R-I-N-T-S. Prince Perfect. Get it? It's a printer. Okay. So he was a bunny rabbit with glasses and a printer's apron, and they thought they modernized him when they took the loop out of his hand and put a cell phone in his little paw. Okay, so I was working with him, like, guys, the bunny's gotta go. Like, they're trying to turn themselves into a marketing services company. So I'm like, I love the bunny, I know you love the bunny, but the bunny's gotta go. So they basically came up with a great campaign, and I just kind of started them. They did it all themselves. Retire the bunny. So the bunny went on sort of a farewell tour. They made a large format cutout of the bunny, and he was seen around town, and they got their customers to play in, like you could go to the ice cream, like they had an ice cream company that was, so you could go there and get free ice cream. The bunny was there. Like they drug this on for like 6 months. And then ultimately the bunny, and they got a whole bunch of people who were Facebook friends now because they were following the bunny's retirement. And then when the bunny finally went off to retirement, they did a big contest where the bunny wanted to leave $10,000 to a nonprofit. So you had to nominate nonprofits, and you had to, you know, like they had to apply and all this kind of stuff. So it was a big, cool thing, but it worked out great. It was very cool. Okay, so that's what you could do with a car. Okay? All right, so it's not just about the tactic, it's the marriage of the tactics and how all the tactics work together. So now we have your cool car combined with social media, we have people coming on the website, we're figuring out who they are, and then we can do lead generation together. Okay? So it's how things work together. So this is a cool one for American All-Stars basketball team. Okay, so it's kind of a Harlem Globetrottery thing. It's called the American All-Stars. And they wanted to reach prospective audience, you know, finding audiences to come to their games was beginning to get difficult. So they want to communicate with fans and expand the existing base. Fill seats. Okay? All right, so they came up with an integrated marketing campaign that had direct mail, online referral, email, print ads, and mobile texting. Okay? So basically, there's what your postcard looked like. They got a list for what they considered to be their target audience. They used variable data. Michael's All-Stars now was personalized the URL. And the phone number, I think, somehow was incorporated in there. And then you could follow the bouncing ball when you got to the landing page, and you kind of an interactive campaign. Okay, so here's what the landing page looked like. There's the survey page. How often do you go to games? Would you come to games? You know, questions like that, because I'm qualifying the opportunity. Opt-in, they could opt in to get the schedule, to get promotions, where the team is going to play, and to have their newsletter. Okay? The schedule page, the information on getting the schedule, and then what? You're all the way down to getting the schedule. Buy something. Okay? So you could do that, and then you could post it on social media or send it to a friend. So now I'm expanding the audience. Okay? So good job. There's the pass it on friends. Think about that too. If you're in a consumer world, having something passed on to friends would be great. Okay? This was what the email looked like. Same kind of schedules, but notice how the creative changes a little bit. Okay, there's your postcard. Okay, a little bit different blocks to click on, you know, make that an easy thing to do. Okay, place regional ads in newspapers, also based on the upcoming schedule, and they were passed to a curl, not a pearl. So, because they're in the newspaper, I can't tell. I can't give you a pearl. So they did a customized landing page that was in the print ads, And we'd bring them in that way. Does that make sense? Okay, so notice they had a mobile website also. It's optimized to mobile. Please do not let anybody do link to a website that is not mobile, that they're going to access on their phones. Just don't let them do it. It's annoying. It has the opposite effect. Your customer's like, with the little trackball, or if they're scrolling over, they can't get where they want to be. So if they don't have a mobile optimized site, then don't push people there. Okay? All right, so there's a good one. Now now I don't know what happened with the All-Stars, but I think it was good success. But I like the components of that campaign, and I like it visually. A lot of fun colors and all that. Okay, now here's one that's more serious focused. Mercy Health Partners. Is anybody from Ohio? No? Yes? Okay. So there's a lot of money in healthcare, as you all know. Okay. So hospitals want to get new movers to use them. They have multiple facilities and all that stuff. So Mercy Healthcare has like 30 locations outside the Cincinnati area. So they want to tell their story to new movers. Okay, they're facing a lot of competition from other hospitals, and they want to kind of get in before you know you need something. Okay, so the goal is generate more revenue. High-end goal, generate more revenue for the hospital. Sort of mid-range goal, get people interacting with us. Okay, so they're going to create awareness. They want to generate a 5% response was their goal, and they want to achieve a 1% conversion of people that want to learn more about the hospital. Okay, so they did a direct mail campaign to new movers within a certain income range. Okay, because you don't want what don't you want if you're a hospital.
We don't want low income, free patients.
You know, because it's a big Medicaid, Medicare, you're looking for people that have insurance. Okay, so they isolated that theoretically by focusing in on certain income levels. Okay, they sent them a welcome kit, and you could have an offer to get a first aid kit. Who doesn't want that? If you visited the landing page, and they were looking at mailing this thing out every 6 months to new movers in that 6-month period. Okay, that's what it looked like. See the Abbott family, so it's personalized. It had a survey in there, so that what kinds of healthcare options would you be interested in, and you had some that were like, I need an immediate pediatrician. I just moved here. I need a pediatrician. Can you help me? Which was good. And they also had some things in there that were more long-term, like, I want to live a healthy lifestyle. I want to focus on, having a healthy heart or something. So they kind of had both things. And there's what the inside looked like, a little map to all the locations. And they put the locations that were closest to the people because they had an address. Okay? Asked them about immediate medical needs for potentially needing specialists. They could opt in for the quarterly newsletter. They could also request more information on a series of things. Okay, so they had like a list of things, okay? Opt in to ongoing health newsletters. Okay, 6% response. What did they want? Who remembers from a couple slides ago? They wanted 5, so they got 6. Okay? 67% of the responses came in via the BRC. Okay? Which is somewhat interesting. The others came in from the going to the Pearl. Okay? But here's the amazing thing. Now remember, these guys are going to need a hospital, theoretically. They're new movers. 33%, or 639 admissions from the responders. So 50% of the people that actually said, let me send in, here's some information I need on the healthcare or visit the landing page, 50% of them actually ended up getting admitted to the hospital.
Where is this that many people went to the hospital?
Well, you know what? Like, I can't speak to everybody, but I've spent most of the last 5 years of my life in and out of hospitals. Not for me, but for my kids. I mean, they've broken this, and they've, fallen over, and they've, hit their heads, and, I mean, it's like, seriously, another one, and they've had bronchitis, and they've been, I mean, it's just, families need a lot of health care, okay? So it wasn't just the person, like if that's a 6-person family, and one of the kids ends up going there for a concussion, then we got it, okay? And that stuff costs a fortune, okay? So they did that. So for every dollar they spent on the program, Mercy Health Partners earned 37.50 cents, $30.57 in revenue. Do you think they're happy? Okay, but then it gets better. Okay, did I put that there? They then went, is that in here? Oh, shoot.
Get it now.
Did I put the 1.5? Oh, there it is. The generated 1.5 million in revenue, and then they actually had, like, they looked at it long-term, because I know everybody that I sent to who didn't respond. Okay, but I could compare future admissions to just the people that got the mailing, and it went up to like 5 million. Okay, so I didn't necessarily respond, but when I needed you, I knew who to go to. Okay, so this is a PODI case. If you have a hospital, I mean, you just don't get any better than this. Okay, so they spent some money. It's a full color, you know, big piece. But heck, when you're going to be making that kind of money, if the return is there, it doesn't matter necessarily what the cost is. Okay, so the best practice was follow the program. List sources were narrowed down. You know, I didn't go to everyone. I went to everyone who could afford, you know, to come here and probably had insurance. They did test several sources for that data, several list providers during the campaign run. Movers have a high probability of needing medical providers, so the inference was pretty logical. They had multiple response mechanisms, the BRC and the PEARL, which is good. The more response mechanisms you have, usually the better the response. Okay? And then they gave them the chance to opt in for ongoing communication. So think about their overall marketing. If I have you opted into the newsletter, do I have to send you a big ass fancy direct mail piece all the time now? No, I don't. So I reduce my cost now of marketing to you. Okay, and I'm going to stay on your mind, and I'm going to end up with you coming to my hospital. So really good one, that's a PODI case.
So was the magnet mailed to them initially, or was that something they had to respond to get the magnet? Or, you know?
Did it say?
It said something about a refrigerator magnet. It said it twice. It said, like on the first page, and just this page here, it said something about it.
I feel like the,
So welcome kit.
Welcome kit, that's what it was.
yeah, I think the magnet, because think about that. Okay, I want
When
to
you
create
get murdered,
awareness.
you lose what-
The magnet was in that initial piece. Okay, because now you're going to stick it up on your refrigerator, and when the kid, you know, breaks his foot, you're going to know where to go. Okay, so that was that, but the kit you didn't get until you visited the PEARL or sent in the BRC. Then you got the little fulfilled first aid. Okay, so that makes sense.
So the
Think
people
about
that didn't respond to the magnets, they stuck it on.
yeah, they still knew about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so perfect.
So that probably helped to 50% get to the hospital.
What?
That probably helped to 50% get to the hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if it's sitting in your refrigerator.
Where do we go? Like if you're new, I mean, I just went through this because I moved to Memphis. It's not easy to find healthcare providers. I mean, they were ridiculous. Like, you know, oh, we're not taking new patients. I mean, well, what do people who are sick do around here? You know? So stuff like that. So integrated cross-channel approach, you know, the people got the relevant content. You're new, and here's information about health services that you're going to need in a new area. They created the engaging conversations and allowed them to capture some information, because remember, they could opt in. I would like some information on diabetes, or I would like some information on heart health, or whatever. So now they knew what else to send them, okay? And that gives you better ROI, and you get to accomplish strategic goals, which in this case was more revenue for the hospital, okay? All right, so now we're going to try this yourselves, because some people are getting tired again. Note to self, Jay, next meeting, carrot sticks and radishes for lunch. Okay? All right, so we're going to break into our same groups. So we had 4 groups, right? Okay.
Just go out.
What? Break up into, you can do your same groups, okay? And let's just take the top 4. So group 1, which is over here, you have a minor league baseball franchise. Okay? Group 2, you have a restaurant.
Oh.
Group 3, you have a hospital. I'm not going to give you a hospital.
Oh, come on.
You have a private high school, and you're calling the dean of students. So this is about getting students, not raising money. Okay?
Free college.
And the last group, you have a okay?
We have one.
All right, so now, based on, here's your challenge. Based on everything we've done so far today, you want to get a conversation with these people and hopefully sell them cross-channel. So what insight from all these millions of slides that we've had are you going to share with them to get that meeting? Okay, so that's the first thing you have to decide. Secondly, what marketing challenges do you think they have, based on what you know about going to a sporting group, or eating at a restaurant, or using a bank, okay? And then what questions would you ask them to isolate the need, to get them to say, yeah, you know what, maybe we could use some help with that, okay? So I want at least 3, and you can have extra credit if you can think of more, okay? So questions you're gonna ask when you go meet with this customer to see if you can get them to say, yeah, we got a problem with that. Okay, does that make sense, everybody? All right, so let's not take 30 minutes, let's take like 20, okay? For what? No! See, I'm telling you, radishes and carrots there. Okay.
Are you sure?
So it's 5 after 2, so come back together at 25 after.
Baseball sucks.
What is it?
Competition. They're a franchise. They're trying to run a business.
No, it's not a lot, it's just like about
What do baseball teams do before they go on the game? They do their homework. They're studying competition. Well, that can be the 31st segue.
my dog.
But as a franchise,
I have
and then you can take that insurance and see.
they're like super adorable. Lakewood, they look like my chair.
Okay, so
They wear like, they always wear matching. One's pretty old, but he's like 11. There's like 3. But they're so funny. Like, they eat each other's food and they think they're doing something cool. Yeah, the little one, like he sneaks by and that's the big one, people, he's not big, but he's a little bit bigger, but he's older. You know, so we can't really like fight it out. So every night when we go to bed, he sleeps on the one sleeps on the bed with us and one sleeps in the crate. So we run up on the bed, and 20 minutes later, he's go out, eat it, and he's in the crate of the other dog, eating his food. And then the one in the crate in our room is like, I can hear him out there. He's eating my food again, Mom. And so like, he doesn't do it during the day because he knows that the other one will sort of bark at him. And so he just waits until he goes to sleep.
So I think in the spirit of what she's talking about, we have to percept that children, but to believe it or not, we talk about our goal is not children, that we have.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Or,
Yes, sir.
oh, your meeting with the team to demonstrate his job is more to see.
So this is very specific to me. Okay, so some industries that cost
Houston and Austin.
60% yeah, so if you open up a checking account, that first month payment will be hooked up to online banking and a savings account or a CD or whatever, because it's going to come down from there. Okay? And you have a 50% better chance of that actually come out. Like if you two products, 50% less chance of big account. 3 products.
Population of the city itself is only.
One product, and I'll leave it a second. I know to get 2 products, you're like, it's a big pain, and you don't pay. So their job is to make it to the first business. I got to show something in the first one. They actually lose a huge percentage of their year 1. Most people like go with the bank and then move again. If you stay in the bank for 4 years, you have a better chance of succeeding. Year 1, you get very volatile. So again, I can say another product, that's all for that. Bank of America did that, but community banks, they make
Cattle operations, they all specialize in
and if you leave in a year,
horses, training horses. And this guy, he made all this, besides being
All right.
unfortunate.
Yeah, I know. 3 o'clock, 3:30.
He
You
was
said
one of those.
3:30, didn't you? Yeah,
Oil fighter.
yeah, I haven't forgotten.
Did
Yeah.
you guys write your stuff down? Okay, are we almost done? 5 minutes.
No, no, it's on CJ, I don't know what time.
Hey, let's keep going, we're not gonna finish. So, keep one person up there writing your stuff down, the rest of you sit down. Just, well, we're not gonna, if I give you another 5 minutes, we're just gonna be 5 minutes. All right, so we had, go backwards and forwards, credit union. Let's hear it.
Okay, like the banks you talked about in the last section, our insight was that credit unions would have need to, when they get a new customer, to try to get them on board with, signing up for new products. Some challenge, within a short time period. Challenges that we saw or we felt was that there's a lot of competition in the banking world. That now with everybody does statements online, banking online, they're not coming into the lobby anymore, so they're not going to have that interaction that they used to.
Good.
They're not going to be receiving a statement in the mail, so they lose that opportunity to put statement stuffers and market it to the customers. People might perceive credit unions being inconvenient. There may only be 1 or 2 branches if they go to the branch. Also, they may have a limited range of ATM locations if people use the ATMs. And then another thing is if somebody's going out to get a loan, they might think that, well, this credit union is just small, they can't handle my loan, was that it? Yeah, okay, so now, questions. We'd like to know what type of products does the credit union offer that they feel are profitable? What's their current customer base look like? How many customers do they have? What product offerings? I think we wrote it a couple different ways. What product offerings are they wanting to push? And what do they think their lifetime value of a customer is? One thing that we thought about is kind of like the hospital with the targeting the new movers that when somebody comes to a new town, they don't have a banking relationship necessarily, and they may be looking for a bank, or credit union, and so that would be a good one to use to reach new customers.
Okay, all those are great questions, okay? But they're actually past this initial point. Those are kind of needs analysis questions, of what have we got to work with kind of questions to try to figure this out. The questions to get them to say, I have a problem, what is your current attrition? Okay? Oh, our attrition rate is 60%, or, oh man, it's a big deal. Okay? What's your current response rate when trying to cross-sell products to customers? Okay? Those are the kind of questions where when the answer implies a problem. Oh yeah, we have a high attrition rate. Okay, well great, because I may know how to fix that. Okay? Or our response rate on our marketing initiatives is really low. Okay? So those kind of questions are what you ask like right in the beginning to get them to go, yeah, it's not as great as you want. Okay? These questions are great questions. But you ask them after they're like, yeah, we got a problem with that, and you're like, okay, let's see if we can fix it. Because I got to understand this to see what I would do to help you.
Yeah.
Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so I'm looking for what do you need to know from that school, from that baseball team, from that, what did you guys have? Restaurant, that indicates a problem. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, good job though, good job. Because these are great questions, you're going to need these later. Okay, all right, let's go to the baseball team. Let's hear what you guys got.
All right, well, for us,
So hot in front of this TV screen. It's like an oven.
for us, the hardest part of the thing was just identifying the very first question.
Okay.
How do we get the meeting?
Okay.
We felt pretty confident, and maybe you'll correct us. Once we got into the meeting, some things that we could do
Okay.
to kind of get it rolling along. But what we came up with, as far as getting the meeting, we would kind of profile our competition, learn best practices, and not necessarily competition. Competition might be another minor league team, but it might be anything that's competing
Any other
for.
entertainment.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it could be football, it could be basketball, it could be movies. It could-
Pop-pop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Who's taking their customers?
Okay.
Or where are they drawing their customers from? But
Okay.
we would need to demonstrate that we could improve their current processes. What are they
Okay.
doing right now?
Do you really need to demonstrate at that point? Okay? All you have to do at that point is illustrate for them that there could be a better way.
Right.
So use some of those examples that we've been talking about to say, hey, I don't know about all that yet, all the rest of those questions, but I do know some people are doing a much better job of this. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you think there's opportunity for you to get better? Yeah, I do. Okay, now you start asking those kinds of things. So I gotta see what's in there. Okay? Now, keep going.
Okay, so we started, and I don't know if I've got all these bullet points in the right areas either, but we started thinking to ourselves, trying to anticipate what some of their needs are going to be, defining who their demographic is. Minor league baseball team, they're going to have issues with how do they attract a young crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 boys, 2 of them teenagers. They could have less interest in a baseball game.
What's wrong with that?
And so, but yeah, I mean, so you've got these new generations coming in,
Mhm.
and how do you, and that's going to lead us down to one of these questions here. How do they stay relevant?
Mm-hmm.
And so, some questions that are going to come up, and that's also going to be some marketing challenges. I'll just kind of flip down to that real quick. Some of their marketing challenges might be their short-term sales, maybe it's their long-term sales, their season ticket holders, things of that nature. So try to flesh that out. What are their marketing challenges there? We talked about how to attract youth. What happens if they're a bottom feeder team? They're not putting too many wins in the win column.
The Houston Astros, maybe?
What's that?
Yeah.
So how do you bring fans to the stands when that's happening? That obviously affects any team in any sport at any level. How do you make or keep the experience affordable? You probably have a different demographic that's going to be coming to these games than the ones that are going to the major leagues, so this is going to have to be something where you have to keep affordability in perspective. And then what are their abilities to tie it in with merchandising and concessions, and how is that working now, and how could that be improved upon? And so if we could flesh out those challenges, some of the questions that we would ask to try to do that would be to help see if we could get them to identify for us what is the lifetime value of the fan, and then how to stay relevant. Who is an ideal fan? How would they? I think we would go into it thinking we know what an ideal fan would be, but maybe they're going to give us a different answer. So we can't just assume that we have that information. Who are the people actually buying the tickets? And then again, with the merchandising and the season tickets, how are those tying in? How we may think that they want to fill the stands with single game tickets, but maybe their push is going to be we want more season ticket holders because it's a bigger transaction. We secure them for the whole season.
That's exactly.
And, yeah. So these are the types of questions that we came up with to pose.
Again, great questions that needs analysis. Okay? So these are great questions. Okay? You guys, we turned you into marketers and now you want to do everything. I love it. Okay? These are all great questions. They're great questions. Okay? So, and you're on the right track here, but conceivably going in for this first meeting, I can tell you what's going to happen. You're going to take 72 pages of notes, and then you're going to get to the end and be like, okay, well, it's been a great meeting. Thanks a lot. Because you're not going to know what to do. Because it's like too much. Okay? Now, eventually you get all this, okay? But when you go in to first sell something, focus on something big. Okay? Now, what do you think they make the most money on?
Concessions, beer.
They make mine. Season ticket holders. Okay? And season ticket holders are probably second. What's the first thing? The skyboxes. Okay, even the minor league teams have those like corporate boxes. They make lots of money on that. So I think they make money on season tickets. I think they make money on corporate things. And then lastly, it's a whole lot harder to sell 6,000 individual tickets. So that's harder. Okay? So I'm going to start with those things that it's a smaller piece of the, or a smaller endeavor. Okay? So what's a question I want to ask them to get them to admit to a problem?
Draw your box.
How many boxes do you have?
Have you sold all your skyboxes? What was your renewal rate on your skyboxes last year? What's your renewal rate on your season ticket packages? Oh, it's only 20%. It's only 60%. Whatever it is, there's opportunity in that. Okay? Because if it's low, then they have to keep marketing to sell more of it. Why are you having attrition? I sold you already. You've been a customer, and now you have to go find somebody else because you left. So those would be the questions that get them to admit a problem, and then you guys start asking all this so you understand how to fix it. Does that make sense? All right. But good job, you guys. You're all good about this. The other thing was that, like, getting young people, make sure there's no other, that can be a need. Like, you could go to somebody and they'd be like, we need a younger audience, okay? But make sure that, because that is a longer horizon, for me to get enough young people who then develop enough lifetime value that I actually get a bunch of cash from it is going to take a while. Versus, I just sold 3 more boxes at 20 grand a year. Done. Okay? So, like, it's okay to do that, but make sure they don't have any other more pressing problem first. Does that make sense? Okay, but good job on that. Like, you're showing that you're understanding and you're trying to get to the bottom of what's going on, and I love that. Okay, restaurant.